All right, guys, we're going to go through some simple operations here. Just kind of simplify things along. X plus a squared minus x squared. Essentially what I'm going to do to simplify this, I'm going to use our FOIL procedure. So we've got x times x gives me x squared. This gives me ax, my a times x, and my a times a gives me my a squared, and then I've got my negative x squared. Remember, for our FOIL, we talked about this in another lecture, but just as a reminder, we're taking our, it's essentially our distributive product multiplication. So we've got our x here that's going to multiply both of these. Our a's here are going to multiply both of these. Remember, if there's nothing in between here. If the curves are touching, then we're multiplying, all right? So I combine my like terms here. I've got x squared plus, I have one ax, I have another ax, so I have two ax's plus a squared minus x squared. Notice that this x squared and this x squared are going to cancel each other out. So I'm left with 2ax plus a squared. Just like that. And if you really wanted to, of course, you could rewrite that as a squared plus 2ax. Whichever one you want. I normally just leave my x up front. All right? Whoops. All right, so we got x squared plus 2x plus 1 times x squared minus 3x plus 4. All right, so same thing, we're going to multiply this out. My x squared goes to this x squared, I get x to the 4. My x squared goes to this, and I get negative 3x cubed. My x squared comes here, and then I've got plus 4x squared. Now normally I write this out, but this one's kind of a long one, so I'm going to go ahead and just vertically stack it. So this is my first row here. Now I go ahead and go with the 2x. Well, 2x times x squared is going to give me my 2x cubed. Notice that I've got the x4 here, but I don't have an x4 coming out of my multiplication, so I'm essentially just lining them up as they need to be in order to add them a little easier. So the 2x times my negative 3x is going to give me a negative 6x squared. And 2x times my 4 is going to give me a 8x. All right, now here's my 1. My 1 times my x squared is going to give me a x squared. My 1 times a negative 3 is going to give me a negative 3x. And my 1 times the 4 is going to give me a plus 4. Again, if I really wanted to, I could take this and just extend it all out to one line here, but I'm kind of short on space. Here's my 4. 8 minus 3x, 5x, and I note that this is a positive, this is a positive. Alright, so I have 4x squared, 1x squared, that's 5x squared, minus a 6x squared, so here's a negative x squared. Negative 3x squared, positive 2x squared, or cubed, I'm sorry, cubed. So I'm going to get a negative x cubed and my x to the 4th. So this is what I'm looking at. Alright, once again, we multiply out to each one, making sure that we feel we get each one of them down. Again, hope you like the stack. If you don't, just put it all out and combine the like terms. Okay, so x to the 8 minus x to the 5. Let's factor this one out. Now, if I pull out what they have in common, I note that this is x to the 5 times x cubed minus 1, right? Okay, now this right here should remind you a cubed minus b cubed is equal to a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared, right? Our formula here. So if I'm looking at this, I know that this is really x cubed minus 1 cubed. Negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 will give me my negative 1. So my a is equal to x, my b is equal to negative 1. So I'm going to take the formula that we know, and I'm just going to apply what we have into this. So my a is x, so where I see an a, I write x. My b is negative 1, so where I see that, I'm going to put that in. Or excuse me, hold on. Is 1. Sorry. There we go. All right. Once again, we're going to go through. My x becomes x squared. This becomes plus x times 1 plus, 1 squared. Work this out. X minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1. All right. Now we can think about it and we can check this just to make sure if we really wanted to. Note that this times this is going to give you my, if I distribute this out, this is going to give you my x cubed plus x squared plus x minus x squared minus x minus 1. So here's my x cubed minus 1. So I've got this. There's our good check. Again, our a is our x here, and our 1 is our b. All right. So from there, we know we've got this side worked out. So all we're going to do is we're going to bring our x to the 5 right back out. So here's our x to the 5th times our x minus 1 times our x squared plus x plus 1. And I'm really hoping that I didn't run out of room on that one. Okay? All right. Once again, for factoring, you should already have this down, but in the event you need a quick review, we throw our box down, we throw our first term here, our last term there, our ax squared, and our c drops down. I multiply these two together, so I say 3x squared is equal to some number times a number. I take my bx, my 4 here, something plus something. I work my times tables. I know that 3x times x and 3x plus x will meet both of these conditions. I put it in. Here's a 3x, here's an x. Again, it doesn't matter which one you choose. I could have put the 3x here, I could have put it down here, it doesn't really matter. Now I factor out. These have an x in common, so I pull it out. This has a 3x in common, so I pull this out. And I know x times 3x gives me 3x squared, so I'm off on a good start. X times something gives me x. Well, I know that's a 1. X times 1 is x. Something times 3x gives me 3x. I throw a 1 down. 1 times 3x is 3x. 1 times 1 is 1. So all of these check out. So I know that 3x plus 1 times x plus 1 is factoring this down. Okay, with that said, enjoy your homework.